Hello friends, welcome to the present segment on Keats's Ode to Autumn. We were in the middle of the ode. In fact, we had introduced the ode, and we were in stanza 1, trying to understand stanza 1. I will carry on with the first stanza once again, right from the beginning, and we'll try to understand the stanza line by line. To autumn. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness. And this time when I'm reading it for the second time, I'd ask you to pay attention to the words particularly, and particularly to the letters or the sounds that are used over here. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatched run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and feel all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plumb the hazel shells with a sweet kernel, to set budding more, and still more later flower for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has overbrimmed their clammy cells. Now, as I have told you, Ode to Autumn talks about temporality, mutability, and mortality, without, however, contrasting the human situation with that of art or imagination, as, for instance, Ode on a Grecian Urn does, or Ode to a Nightingale does. The Autumn Ode is a poem of acceptance, a poem of reconciliation, and you can see this air of acceptance right from the beginning. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness. I have already told you the use of M sounds, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, and the continuous words, the words which are commonly called ing words, conspiring, and then maturing, and later budding. But let's try to understand it. All this suggests that it's a continuous process, but let's try to understand this line by line. Mellow fruitfulness suggests, mellowness suggests a kind of a ripeness that is too ripe, a kind of a ripeness that has come very near to decaying. And the season is a very close friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruits and vines that round the thatched run. It loads and blesses everything with sweet kernel, as it will come over here, with makes the fruit mature. It makes everything mature. So the dominant image is that of maturity. But again, these images, these words like mellow, okay, and we'll find it later, of course. All these words somehow bring about also a kind of an anticipation, a kind of a foreboding of decay. To bend with apples the most cottage trees. The cottage trees would be so overburdened with apples that they would bend. You can see, natural productivity is at its most, at its maximum. And feel all fruit with ripeness to the core, and everything will become ripe, ripe to the core. It is reminding me of very well-known lines from King Lear, ripeness is all. This expression was also a favorite of Keats. So it has reached its extreme ripeness. That's the idea. To swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel. Kernel is a thing that you have inside the fruit. To set budding more, we have another continuous word, budding, another word in the continuous tense. All this suggests that the process is still left. And still more. Later flowers for the bees. The budding process is going on, but it's already a little late. And the flowers that we will have here are later flowers. Until they think warm days will never cease. Who? The bees. The bees will be deceived to believe that this kind of days will go on, for summer has overwhelmed their clammy cells, because their sticky cells has been full by the blessing of summer. Summer or spring has caused the flowers to bloom, and the flowers, the nectar from those flowers have filled up, have actually overfilled their sticky cells. You see, of course, the image, the dominant imagery is that of plenitude and abundance, but there are places where Keats deliberately uses some expressions which raise also the feeling of deception. Season of mists. Mists are things through which we cannot see properly. Conspiring, kind of a understanding going on under the cover, so to say. The images of deception we can see are quite abundantly present over here, and it also comes in the deception of the bees that the warm days, the summer days will never cease. In any case, the first stanza tells us about the abundance of late summer and early autumn. Look at the images. The images are visual. In all the three stanzas you have visual images. But over here, the images are to some extent associated with touch. We'll call them tactile images. For instance, the ripeness, the mellowness, the ripeness of the apple, the mellowness of the fruits, the sweet kernel, the clamminess of the beehive, all suggest some kind of are expressed through a kind of a tactile imagery, the images of touch. The second stanza, as I've told you, represents mid-autumn and carries on the same apostrophe. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. Or on a half-reef furrow sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hook spears the next swath and all its twined flowers. And sometimes like a gleaner dost thou keep steady thy laden head across the brook, or by a cider press with patient look thou watchest the last oozings hours by hours. Now, over here, In the previous stanza, it seemed to be a complete season, a complete sentence, right from the beginning to the end. The full stop, as you can see, comes at the last line. But we can't call it a sentence because there is no presence of a finite verb in it. Note the absence of the finite verb. The summer over there, the late summer over there, seems infinite. That doesn't happen over here. You see, the first line is a rhetorical question and is a sentence in itself. Who hath not seen thee oft amid the storm? So, what does it tell us? The first rhetorical question is a question that carries the answer in itself. Who hath not seen thee oft amid the storm actually tells us that the personification of autumn that will be imaged in the following lines is a very very frequent occurrence for the late autumn season, mid-autumn season, which is being described in stanza 2. It also carries on the apostrophe. Now, what is an apostrophe? An apostrophe is an address, a poetic address meant for an abstract idea, a dead person, on an inanimate thing. Over here, obviously, it's a season, it's an abstract idea, but you have apostrophe, very well-known apostrophe poems beginning with apostrophes like Milton, thou shouldst be living at this hour by Wordsworth. Evidently, when Wordsworth was writing the poem, Milton was dead. The same apostrophe is carried on in this stanza. Who hath not seen thee oft amid the storm? Thee refers to autumn, but when you will come to the end of the stanza, you will also see that the visual image that's being referred over here, or the rhetorical question that is surrounding the visual image, is perhaps that of a personification of autumn. Autumn is being personified in this particular stanza. Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. The winnowing wind is the wind used to in the winnow to separate the grain from the chaff. And the image here is that of a girl sitting on the floor of a granary where winnowing is being done. Winnowing, as you know, is a process that happens after harvesting. So this again bears some association with the season of autumn, mid-autumn particularly. And the girl is sitting there absent-minded, or on a half-ripped furrow sound asleep. A half-ripped furrow, again suggesting that it has not been fully ripped, it has not been fully harvested, so there is still something left. It is, after all, mid-autumn, and you are lying on a half-ripped furrow. Furrow is this line of crop. You are asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. It's a wonderful personification, but you will have to go deep into it to fully understand the meaning. It's not just Keats visualizing autumn as a woman, as a girl, but a girl is sleeping. The girl is to some extent intoxicated by the fume of poppies. Again, the image of deception coming over here. While thy hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. The next swath, the next bunch for the harvesting. Okay, your hook is somehow sparing the next bunch over there, and you have fallen asleep as if things have become stationary. We have all come across this kind of scenes in village life in mid-autumn. So we know how very slow this autumn afternoon is. And not only, this is also to point out over here, it's not only talking about autumn but also the time of the day is afternoon, where particularly in autumn, whether the fume of poppies are there or not, one feels a bit sleepy. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look, thou watchest the last oozing hour by hour. Now, after gleaning the thing, you are carrying it through across a brook, and you are very carefully carrying it so that it doesn't fall off. The burden being on your head, so you can visualize the movement of the girl very carefully crossing the brook, and then by the cider press, or the girl is waiting by the place. The cider press is the place where apple juice is prepared. Apples are crushed into juice, and watching the last oozing hour by hour. You can very well understand hours by hours. You can very well understand the oozing refers to not only the juice of the apple, but also to the remaining part of the year, the oozing out of the autumn season. What are the dominant images over here? Of course, all the three stanzas consist of a lot of visual images, but over here the dominant image is obviously that of smell. We can say olfactory images. The fume of poppies are the dominant one, the central one over here. It also brings, as I've told you, to our mind the image of deception, which carries on throughout the poem. Well, that's the end of this present slot. It's already 17 minutes. So in the next slot we'll conclude this poem. We'll do the third stanza, and we'll also learn something about its structure. Thank you, students.